Welcome on in. Welcome to the 411 podcast. It is Friday, May 9th. Welcome on in. Financial Fridays. I can't believe we made it. I'm not going to say we can't believe we made it, but it's just been an interesting week, and we made it. So I can't believe. I want to make sure I clean that up. 7 seconds to clean that up. But yes, we have made it. Financial Fridays, part of this new mentorship series. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming in and checking us out. Thank you so much. Before we get started, I want to give a very special thank you to my executive producer, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you so much for giving me another opportunity to give you the 411 podcast. I also want to thank everyone out there who has liked, comment, share, subscribe, tagged a friend. Thank you so much. Go ahead and text them, nudge them, do whatever you need to do to let them know what we have going on here. Definitely have breakthroughs and a lot of aha moments right here 411 podcast. We are learning, we are growing, and we're going to get to new heights together. So last night, we had a conversation about single mom struggles. We helped Miss Denise out, and we talked a lot about guilt spending. We talked a lot about impulsive spending, being emotionally unstable when it comes to, her finances. And one word or one phrase that I brought up last night was financial avoidance. And you have to be very careful when you are dealing with financial avoidance, whether it is you, whether it is your significant other. And I know that, from my past experience, that was definitely something that was an issue when it comes to financial avoidance. And this happens when somebody just basically gives up. They have that it is what it is mentality. You might be attached to someone, you might be linked to someone who has financial avoidance, and that could be an issue. One person is striving, one person is hustling, one person is grinding to make things work, and the other basically is taking the easy street, taking the back seat. So be very careful with that. And like I said last night with Karen White, with her song Superwoman, that was the song of the day for all of the women out there. Mother's Day weekend. I want to say Happy Mother's Day. But yes, I know that there's a lot to carry. There's a heavy load when it comes to the single mother struggle. But of course, you are all superwomen. You are all superheroes. But when you truly become a true superhero is when you do everything that you know how to do to take care of a family. I can't even explain it. That's only something that women know how to do. And whatever you do it best. God has put you on this planet to do what you've done, whether you have a man helping you and supporting you or you don't. But the real superwoman, when you can do all of that you know how to do, what it takes to become a woman and raising, children in any type of circumstances, bringing a family together. But when you are on point with your finances as well, and you are able to teach your children how to break through so that they don't go through some of the same things that you've went through, there you go. Superhero times 10. So, yes. Happy Mother's Day to all of the women out there. Now, we're going to move into the song of the day. Rest in peace, Miss Angie Stone. But in New Jersey, it was raining today. It's kind of like a blah day. So I've been trying to keep my spirits up high because for me personally, I don't like the rain. I like some of the songs that, speak about rain, such as Missy Elliott, Super Duper Fly, Mary J. Blige, Every Day It Rains. I like those types of songs. I like this here, of course, which song of the day tonight, No More Rain in This Cloud by Angie Stone. It has a little spin on it, but I'm not a fan of the rain. I just want to be real with you. I'm not a fan of the cold weather. I'm not a fan of the rain. And in May, right now in New Jersey, it's about like 50 some odd degrees and rainy, and it's one of those days. Like Monica, it's just one of them days. So, we're going to get through this thing here tonight because it's definitely one of them days. But No More Rain in This Cloud by Angie Stone, the song of the day, released in 1999 off of her album Black Diamond. How mystical is that? Black Diamond Consultations, Angie Stone album Black Diamond. Episode 11, The Side Hustle Trap, Financial Fridays. So, No More Rain in This Cloud. This is a great song. The meaning behind it is everything. There really doesn't need to be much remixing here tonight because when you say no more, that's exactly what that means, no more. But when it really becomes no more is when you really put that action in it. And how mystical it was that in 2022, right here on the 411 podcast, I had a guest named Sophie Davis on. And she's from the UK. And, I did my song of the day, and the song of the day in 2022 was No More Drama by Mary J. Blige. And in that episode, I spoke about what we were going to speak and declare no more drama over our lives. What's one thing, or what are a few things that you were going to say no more drama to? So in 2022, I had no idea what I was putting in motion, but I was in debt at that time, and I did not have my life together at that time. And had I continued to go down that same path that I was in 2022, I'm not quite sure that I would be here podcasting and still having the 411 podcast and Black Diamond Consultations afloat. Because looking back at my life in 2022, I was set for some financial disasters because I wasn't set up for success properly. I sort of put the cart before the horse, so to speak. And we're going to speak about that tonight inside Hustle Traps. So, yes, this is a business 411 podcast, Reading Between the Wines, Black Diamond Consultations. And I did not know what it was like to start a business. I didn't know the ins and outs of having a business and what it took to make this, a professional business. And I had no idea. I was just young with it. And needless to say, I made some mistakes. I made some mistakes in the beginning. So when I was speaking of no more drama during this episode, I was kind of fed up with my financial state, amongst other things. And I was speaking to Sophie Davis, and I said, "So what are you going to say no more drama to?" And she was telling me her story. And I said, "Well, I'm going to say no more drama to debt. I want to be debt free, and I'm going to be debt free." And it was the way that I said it with so much conviction that a year and a half later, I became debt free. Now, in 2022, when I said that, I was ignorant to a lot of things when it comes to money and finances and business. Absolutely ignorant. And after I said what I said and the way I said it, it the universe started to put things into place, and I started to learn and grow over a period of time, and here we are here today. So I want you to think about what you're going to say no more to, and say it with conviction and believe it. If you are somebody out there who is, and I say this a lot, and we're going to continue to say it, and might not be for everybody. So if it's not for you, you know what to do. But for those of you who are sick and tired of being on that hamster wheel, sick and tired of going through the same regular routine journey and getting the same simple results, anybody out there who wants to do something different, I want to give you this rhetorical question, because the same thing happened in 2022 in my life. What are you going to say no more to? It really started in 2019 when internally I said no more to a lot of things. 2022, I pressed the gas. And now here we are in 2025, a totally different person. And I had to say no more to a lot of things in order to get here. And I had to remember who I was, because I forgot along the way. I let people, places, and material things take over, and I forgot who I was along the way. But I had to remember that I have a mission, and God has sent me here to serve people. And I had to remember that, because I forgot along the way. But I had to say no more to the credit cards until I learned how to use them. Yes, there is a right way to use credit cards, and there's a wrong way. I had to say no more to the dating apps, swiping left and right, trying to go on late night creeps. Absolutely not. I had to say no more to all of the splurging in the restaurants and the food indulgence, the trips, the vacations, the cars, the clothes, the jewelries, the shoes. I had to say no to a lot of those things. And I had to just tell myself, this is just some temporary pain in exchange for some long-term prosperity. I'll say that again. I had to tell myself, while I watched my friends and my family taking trips and vacations and people going places, and I just stayed to the grind and hustled and did what I had to do. No one wanted to hear my sad story. Nobody wanted to help. Nobody wanted to do anything except say this dude is crazy. He's a little nuts. He's a little off his rocker, and I get it. I get what they were feeling, but I know what I'm feeling today. Just some temporary pain in exchange for some long-term prosperity. So, are you willing to go through some temporary pain in order to get the things that you need to get to the places where you want to get to? I'm not saying that it's easy. And you definitely have to reward yourself along the way, because it's not easy. Once we get ourselves into some of these jams, we get ourselves into these situations, we sign up for things that we didn't mean to do. We get tricked. We try to keep up with the Joneses, which I spoke about yesterday. I don't know who the Joneses are. I don't know when they moved in next door. I don't know them. I don't like them. I don't want to know them. I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm not trying to keep up with the Kardashians. I could care less what these people got going on. I'm not on social media scrolling, trying to compare myself to anybody. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm just speaking from experience. Welcome on in, y'all. Welcome to the 4-in-1 podcast. Please do me a favor. If you're out there listening, thank you. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend, invite them in. Let them know what we have going on here. Financial Fridays. This is part of the mentorship series. So every single night except for Saturday, so we are off tomorrow, but every single night bringing you new content. We have Mental Mondays. We have Transformational Tuesdays. You can come wind down with me on Wednesday for Wind Down Wednesday. Thursday, we have Coaching Session Thursday. And every Friday here at 7 p.m., we are going to dig into the financial aspect of debt-free living on a deeper level. So welcome on into Financial Fridays. And tonight, we are going to head on over to Phoenix, Arizona. So before we speak about Mr. Brian here, who lives in Phoenix, Arizona, I want to talk about Arizona in general. Just a very spiritual place for me. I love to visit Arizona. I've been there probably about maybe 4 to 5 times. And this last time, which was this January, February, I can't even remember already. But I went to Phoenix, Arizona, and, it was good for rest, relaxation, and rejuvenating, and also manifestation as well. And of course, while I was in Phoenix, it was Scottsdale area, Phoenix, this past year, this is how the mentorship series program came about. So Phoenix, Arizona in general, Scottsdale definitely has a place in my heart. So a lot of things were born in Arizona. A lot of breakthrough moments happen in Arizona, and we're here. So long time coming, but we are definitely here. So let's head on over to Arizona and help out Mr. Brian. So Brian started a side hustle. And instead of reinvesting his earnings, everything that he makes, he is using that to pay down debt. So he's caught in a grind. He's caught in his grind mentality that's not producing results. So he has a side hustle, but instead of reinvesting his earnings, he's basically using his earnings to pay down his debt. So he's caught in a grind mentality that's not producing any results. So with this, one thing that I want to speak about is side hustles. I was actually speaking to someone yesterday about side hustles. Side hustles are basically anything that is going to generate additional income. And a side hustle should be like I said, keyword, producing income. Now, what I believe is happening here is Brian must be passionate about something. I don't know the full story, but it sounds like Brian is passionate about something here, and he's created a business, but he's labeling it as a side hustle. So side hustles are things that you are going to pick up to make you additional money. You might have a few of them. You might stick with a couple of them. If you lose a couple, if a couple contracts get canceled, if a couple customers cancel, it's not going to mean anything because it's a side hustle. It's a little gig that you're going to use to get some additional money. But what I hear here, what I hear, what I am hearing here is caught up in the grind mentality. Instead of reinvesting money, he's using it to pay down debt. So obviously there's debt. So we need to correct that. We need to pay down debt. So we need to get as many side hustles as we possibly can. So anybody out there who's in any type of debt, you want to try to have as many side hustles, as many streams of income coming in that you need to pay down your debt. But it appears, and I could be wrong, and anybody who thinks differently, please feel free to drop it in the comments and let me know, that sounds like he's starting a business that he's really passionate about. And he's passionate about it because he's in the grind mentality and he's continuously working and hustling. And it's just a vicious cycle. He's basically paying to keep this, I'm going to call it a business, startup business. He's working for his startup business. Instead of getting out debt, he's working for his startup business. And if it was a side hustle, I don't believe that he would continue. Who would do that? Who would continuously work for nothing, basically, to keep a side hustle going? Just doesn't make any sense to me. So it sounds like this is a startup business that he's very passionate about. And there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that I see wrong is that there's debt here. Anyone who wants to start up a business or start something, majority of the time it's not going to hit the ground running, and you will have to lose money. It's not really losing money if you're investing it into the business with a plan of it to generate funds in the future. So it sounds as if this is a startup business, but it's like I spoke about earlier with putting the cart before the horse. He's in debt. So the debt should be eliminated before we decide to do any startup businesses. Many side hustles in the beginning to get the debt down, and then you can focus on what you're passionate about, and then you can focus on what you'd like to do once the debt has been eliminated. So from this here, what I get, it appears to be that this is a startup business. It appears to be a startup business, and he's very passionate about it. That's why he's stuck in this grind mentality, basically wheels spinning over and over and over again, not being able to take the money that is being generated from the business to pay down debt because he needs to take that money to keep the business going. So this is a tough situation when you're passionate about something. I had to step away from what I was passionate about in order to continuously keep it going. I had to step away. I had to learn. I had to grow. I had to do a lot because I was so passionate, and I'm still passionate. That's why I'm still here about what I'm doing. And had I continued on the same path in 2022, it would have been a train wreck. I kind of saw it coming, and I needed to back away in order to protect what I was passionate about. Because I know when I started in 2020 what the vision was, but somewhere along the way, I got comfortable. I'll put it that way. I got comfortable and I didn't press the gas as much as I should have between 2020 and 2022, and things happen. Life happens. And that's why we have to be prepared, because when life happens, we need to be able to bounce back. And a lot of us cannot bounce back if we don't prepare properly. You know, when they say save for a rainy day, because anything can happen. Yeah. Well, between 2020 and 2022, I did not do that. And I hit some significant roadblocks. And it was nobody but God. Nobody but God that was able to step in and help me get my mind together and get my education together. And that's exactly why I'm still here. Because it was going to be a complete train wreck had I got in the way and continued to do it my way. So, yeah, this is a big one here. So, I know it sucks, but this is reality. So, since Brian is so passionate about his business, which I get it. I understand. He's going to have to look for, I mean, how many multiple streams of income can you get? How many side hustles can one possibly get? So once you get to the point where you pretty much are working around the clock, which that's not always good either. I mean, to do that to get out of debt, absolutely. But is that a long-term goal? And is that a long-term, can you continue to sustain that over a long period of time? I don't believe so. Oh, you're eventually going to crash and burn one day. And like we spoke about mental fatigue and mental overload, physical fatigue, physical overload once you're taking on too much. And I don't know about you, but I like to sleep. So I love my rest. So many side hustles that could be a problem. I think back in the day, the most jobs that I had were like 3 jobs at once. So Mr. Bryan's going to need to find another side hustle to be able to make sure that he has more coming in than he has going out. And you can only have so much before there's an issue. Now we need to start to focus on, okay, so how do we increase the amount of money that we're making in some of these side hustles? Whether you have to do something different on your job, whether you have to sit down and ask for an increase, you might need to find another job that's going to pay for, you know, what 2 jobs would do together. So basically, we need to have more money coming in. And I don't know the full detail of all of this stuff here, but this is one thing I have to say. I started to sell stuff. When I just was like, all right, there's a lot of money here that I owe. There's a lot of debt. I need to get out of this crap. I don't know what I need to do, but every time I got a hold of something, I paid off something. I paid off this credit card. I paid off this credit card. I paid off that loan. Finally, I started to look around and say, well, what the hell can I sell here? Because I'm tired of looking at all of this stuff. And I'm a minimalist now, so I didn't need half the stuff anyway. And I just started selling jewelry, things, especially things that exes gave me, anything that reminded me of my past. I'm like, let's get this the hell out of here and sell this immediately and get this off of the books here. So, Brian, maybe you need to sell some stuff. Maybe you need to get rid of it. I don't know if you have a car, people who have car payments. I was speaking to someone who was interested in coming on, for coaching, and you're paying about $1,000 in a car payment, $800 for a car payment a month, plus whatever it is in car insurance is equaling up to about $1,000 a month. So I can help you out really quick. Guess what? Sell the car and get rid of it. Sell the car, get rid of it, and then guess what you will do? You will give yourself $1,000 a month. How about that? Maybe a little less with your car insurance and things like that you might need, but you won't be spending $1,000 a month. Maybe you might be spending about, maybe I'll be gracious and say maybe $400. Get yourself a pre-owned, quality used car that makes sense. Spend anywhere between, okay, it used to be $8,000. Let's just bump it up to $10,000. Now you don't have any monthly car payments. You got a good quality car. I'm not talking about a car that's like back in the day you can go on a lot and get something for I'm taking it back years. It used to be $1,200. Now a $1,200 car probably will be equal to something that's like 3,000, maybe. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about getting your money together, doing whatever you need to do to get you a car that's 10,000 plus, paid off in full, so you don't have to worry about high premium car insurance. Maybe that's something Brian needs to do. Again, I don't know. But from the information that I have here, it sounds like he started a business that he's passionate about. And I have a problem with the label. That's not a side hustle. Like Black Diamond Consultations is not a side hustle. Absolutely not. Now, the things that I do outside of here, that's a side hustle. Because they can be dropped at the drop of a dime, and I could care less, honestly. Because as my mentor said, you can get another one. So side hustles, you can get another one. Now, if you're passionate about building something and that's your business, that's your brand, that's what you're doing, I would be strongly urge you not to use the term side hustle. So maybe this was just worded incorrectly because he's caught in a grind mentality. And I don't know who's going to continue. I don't know anybody who's going to work for free. So check this out. And it's just so mystical too. Someone didn't get paid. Okay, let me ask you all this question. Would you continuously show up to a job when you didn't get paid? Week after week after week, would you continuously go to a job and show up and perform your weekly duties, daily duties, whatever it is, and not get paid? And not say anything about it and not make a big deal about it? So I know an individual who did a job. He has clients. He did a single job and he didn't get paid for 2 years and was just nonchalant about it. I know I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. And I also wouldn't have kept quiet for 2 years neither. You would have heard me every single day. I would have been texting, calling, showing up, sending letters, doing all types of stuff, emails. This individual was just so calm and cool and was okay with not getting paid for approximately 2 years. I think that's just strange to me. So it sounds like this is what Brian is doing, except he's physically working every single day, showing up every single day for this so-called side hustle, and he's not making any money. And the reason why he's probably not making any money, he doesn't see a profit, is because he still has some overhead debt. So be careful with labeling it as a side hustle. That's going to be the first thing, because it's not a side hustle. That sounds like that's your startup business. You needed a game plan. We needed to make sure that you have more coming in versus going out. And right now it appears that you have more going out than you have coming in. And I cannot stress the importance of planning things out. Anyone out there who wants to start business or startup business, let's not call it a side hustle. Unless it's not, okay, call it a side hustle if it's temporary. So you want to, cook out of your home. But that's a side hustle. Now, if you say, oh, I want to, open up my own restaurant in the future, but I'm going to start cooking out of my home and then I'm eventually move to, having my own space and I'm going to open up my restaurant or I'm going to have a food truck. That is not a side hustle. That is a business. That's the game plan. You're going to go from A to B to C and you're going to get to the end game plan and it's going to flow. One's going to flow into another. Now, if you're saying, oh, I'm just, I'm not really passionate about, X, Y, and Z. I want to be, and I'm just making something up. I want to open up my own clothing store. But in the meantime, I'm going to, DoorDash, or in the meantime, I'm going to Uber, or in the meantime, I'm going to go, pick up a part-time job so that I can save up and I can open up my own clothing store where, I design my clothes. So the Uber, working part-time jobs, all of those things are side hustles so that you can feed what you're passionate about. So come have a game plan. Don't just jump into things without calculating the cost. I don't know who I'm talking to tonight. I'm only speaking from experience. I would strongly urge you not to do that. I've done it, and I got myself in a situation, and I started to say, "What in the hell did I get myself into?" Yes, there is that term, you have to spend money to make money, but the important thing is you want to make money. Luke 14:28, and this is something that I couldn't remember what scripture it was, but Luke 14:28 says, "For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first, and counteth the cost, whether he had sufficient to finish it?" So clearly, like, you're just going to go out and build something and not know if you have enough resources to go ahead and finish the job. Now you're going to look foolish. So be very careful about jumping in and starting this business and starting this setup without making sure that you have counted up the costs. And I have been notorious in the past for just jumping and running and starting things. And a lot of things that I did failed and it didn't work. And when it comes to Black Diamond Consultations in 2022, I said, I see that this is going in the wrong direction. I've been through some stuff, like that's how we got here. So, and I'm so passionate about this. I want to make this thing work. And I was just like Brian, in all types of debt. It was a mess. And I had to put what I was passionate about on hold. And I had to clean up some things because it was not going to work right. It was not going to go in the right direction. So anybody out there think differently, listen, we all have our own different ways and our different perspective and views on things. If I'm missing something, if I mislabeled something or quoted something incorrectly, let me know. Drop them in the comments. Text me 609-200-1098. Let me know. But tonight, we are speaking about the side hustle trap. Financial Fridays, 411 podcast. Now, this is the moment where we're going to get into something that I like to call burning questions. If you would like to chime in, again, I'll give you that number once again. You can text me at 609-200-1098. That is the official 411 podcast Reading Between the Wines hotline. That is 609-200-1098. Let me know what you think about tonight's show. Let me know what you think about the burning questions. If you want to respond to that specific burning question, please feel free. If you'd like me to bring up one of your scenarios, you can text me, you can email me at info@laringgaines.com. And I have a great way of making sure that nobody knows that it's coming from you. So I'm not going to sit there and put your information out there with your name on it and all of that good stuff. We will do things to make sure that your information is protected. If you don't want people to know who you are, definitely not going to send them knocking to your door, but info@laringgaines.com. You can also DM me on any of my social media platforms. I am on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok, DLive, Twitch, and Daily Motion. I want to say thank you so much to Facebook family. They'll definitely have been doing great job supporting and liking. I appreciate that, watching the videos. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into tonight's burning question. Burning questions. What is the most valuable financial lesson you've learned? And how has it changed your approach to money? I'll read that again. What is the most valuable financial lesson you've learned, and how has it changed your approach to money? So I will answer this, and of course, please feel free to chime in as you see necessary. The most valuable financial lesson that I've learned, I spoke briefly about it tonight. I used to live paycheck to paycheck. I couldn't wait to spend all my money. As soon as I got paid, I would spend it all. Now, I made sure all my bills were paid. See, that's something. Some people, they'll live paycheck to paycheck and they'll pick and choose what bills they wanted to pay. For me, absolutely not. All my bills were going to be paid. And if not, there was going to be a problem. And everybody around me would know that it was a problem. I became the most miserable so-and-so that was nothing nice at all. I couldn't breathe. I wasn't content, and I wasn't happy until my bills got paid. And the minute that they didn't get paid, and the minute that somebody caused an issue of me coming between me and having my bills paid, oh, trust and believe it was a big old issue. And I was not quiet about it. So that's what I knew, to get up every single day, to go to work, make sure all my bills were paid. But that didn't stop me from spending all my money and waiting on the next paycheck to come. Not having an emergency fund, not having a backup plan, not having plan B, C, and D. I used to live my life like that. So one of the most valuable financial lessons that I've learned is stop spending all of your money. Now, I know that sounds just elementary, but it was some life-changing situations when I realized that every time you get a dollar, that doesn't mean that you have to spend all of it. My grandfather used to tell me when I was younger, boy, you let that money burn a hole in your pocket. Because I would just run to the corner store and I was quick to spend all of my money. Every single time they gave me a dollar, I ran to the corner store and I spent it all at the drop of a dime. So, yeah, that money was burning a hole through my pocket. Now, think back, it would have been so dope. It would have been so profound. It would have been so earth shattering if my family had said, hey, maybe you shouldn't spend all of that dollar. Let me show you how you should save this money and do this and do that. But they just did the best that they can do. Now that I know what I know today, looking back, I'm like, damn, had they taught me that, boy, my life would have been different. But again, they only did the best that they did. They only did what they knew how to do, and whoever taught them. But yeah, it's no secret that most of us, we have been taught, because more is caught than is taught. But we have been taught to just spend every single dollar and to wait on the next paycheck to come and get up and hustle and grind and go to work and kill ourselves for, that paycheck that we get every Friday. To do what? Go ahead and spend it and do it all over again. So that was one of the most valuable financial lessons that I've learned. And it has definitely changed my approach towards money because I look at it totally different. And number one, I don't spend every single dollar. I've learned to less is more for me today. And it truly is. Less is more for me today. If I get a dollar, I'm not spending it all. And I'm also not saving it all either. So there's more to that. It's a lot more than just taking your money and saving it. There's other different aspects that you need to do with it. So a lot of doors opened up for me once I started to learn how money works. So I would say that was one of my most valuable lessons that I've learned. And I'm going to give you another bonus one as well, because I've learned this from my mentor that I look up to. He says that broke people, they basically get their paycheck and their paycheck is used to pay bills. I'm going to say that again. Broke people, they'll get their paycheck and their paycheck is used to pay bills. Now, I told you that was the first thing that I would do, run and pay bills. Broke people will take their paycheck every single week and their money is used to pay bills. And then he says, wealthy people, or we're going to say rich people, whatever you want to name it and claim it. The wealthy people make sure that they pay themselves first, and then they worry about paying bills. And when I first heard this, I was like, this doesn't even sound right. Pay yourself first. I don't understand. You got to make sure that those bills are paid. But that was coming from a scarcity mindset. I was coming from a poor person's mindset. And remember, your mindset will shift and change before reality shows up. So you can't be a broke person. You can't be a wealthy person with a broke person's mindset. Now you can temporarily be a broke person with a wealthy person's mindset because you have to have the mindset first and then reality will shift afterwards. Listen, you might need to go ahead and hit that rewind button on that one. So if you are broke right now because your bank account is not aligning up with what you want it to be, start working on shifting that mindset first. Because if you shift your mindset and you learn to start thinking about money differently and thinking a little bit differently, everything else will just show up later. But that mindset has to change. That internal dialogue has to change. You can walk around speaking all type of affirmations all you want. I am wealthy. I am successful. I am this. I am that. You can speak that until the cows come home. But if that internal dialogue is not tuned into the right frequency, and if that mindset is not set properly, and if you are still thinking from a scarcity mindset when it comes to money, it's not going to work out in your favor. Scarcity mindset, when you look at the price tag and you contemplate whether you should be buying it or not, and if you can afford it or not. I know that that's deep, and you got to dig deep. You can't just look at it on the surface. Scarcity mindset, doing things, and this thing drives me nuts. Oh, I can't stand this. I'm going to avoid tolls because the tolls cost too much. That's just something so simple, but that irks me. And I want no parts of that. Like, no. You will compromise your time, which is the most valuable thing in this world, to save a little bit of money. Absolutely not. For me, I want you to get me there the quickest ways possible. I know that it might cost a little bit more, but at the end of the day, I'm going to have a little bit more time that I will never be able to get back. I can always get more money, but that time, I will never be able to get that back. So I'm not going to sit there and compromise and ruin my time just to save a little bit of money. I know that that's a little bit deep. It's a little bit deep for me tonight. It's a little bit deep for me tonight. But yeah, so I definitely have learned how to shift my mindset when it comes to money, and I think about money differently, and I don't have financial anxiety. I used to always have financial anxiety when it came to money, getting crazy in my mind, getting crazy in my nervous system about a situation that hasn't even showed up yet, thinking the worst about something that hasn't even showed up yet. And now I come from an abundance mindset. I know it's not here yet. I don't know how it's going to work out, but there's enough to go around for me, you, the next one, and that one. I no longer sit here and come from a scarcity mindset thinking that there's not enough, because there's always enough. This universe has how many people? All of these people all over this world here. And you want to sit here and think that there's not enough money to go ahead and take care of what needs to be taken care of. You just need to tune into the right frequency and do what you need to do to be able to get the money that you need to get. And if you're not getting the money that you need to get, then we need to start looking in the mirror, because everything starts with self. And I know it might be deep. I know it might be deep and some people may not like what I have to say here tonight, and I get it because there was a time when I didn't want to hear and I didn't like it either. But today I love it because once I hit rock bottom and I couldn't get any lower, and the only way that I could do is get back up and pull myself back up despite all of the nonsense and the BS and the stuff that I did and I allowed to go on and carry on in my life, you can do it too. But you're going to have to get good and sick and tired of your situation in order to be able to change it. Because can't nobody do it for you. And ain't nobody going to be able to do it. And if someone did it for you, you wouldn't be able to maintain it and stay where you're at when you get there. So I get it. That's why everything had to be burned down to the ground till it couldn't get any lower. And I had to get good and sick and tired of my situation. And I had to learn all that I needed to learn so that once I get to the newest heights and the highest heights that I'm going to get to, I'm going to be able to stay there this time around. I'm going to be able to maintain it because I put my work in. I don't know who I'm speaking to tonight, but I'm only speaking from experience. And I don't know if there's one thing, a few things. I don't know if there's one person out there or a few people out there. But if you liked anything that you heard tonight and something sparked in you and you might feel that you might want to learn some more information, or maybe you are at the point where you're sick and tired. Maybe you are at the point where you are ready to cut those credit cards up. Or I did speak to you about that. I didn't know how to use credit cards before, but I do now. There is a right way and a wrong way to use credit cards. There is a such thing as good debt and there's a such thing as bad debt. But if you're in debt to begin with, let's just get out of debt first before we start to think about anything else. You can head on over to LarenGaines.com. You can sign up for a free 15-minute consultation. Apply to see if you qualify for the coaching sessions if that's something that you're interested in. If this is the first time that you've come through, or if this is the first time that you had like that aha moment, I strongly urge you to come back every single night until you can see if this is something that you're interested in. Because one thing that I've learned is that it's not an overnight thing. You don't just get it in one night. Like, this is repetition. This is doing your work. That's what it's called when it comes to doing your work, getting those reps in, doing everything that you need to do to make sure that you are going to build a bridge, you are going to build a tunnel, you are going to build a mountain, you are going to build a city, you are going to build a state, you are going to build a country in between you and debt. Because I know that that's what I am doing. I'm focusing on building multiple cities, multiple states in between me and debt, because the minute that you sit still and the minute that you don't do anything and the minute that you fall into that trap of financial avoidance, just know that debt is running. It ain't walking. It's running towards you. So you have to do whatever you need to do to put all kinds of game plan and put boots on the ground to make sure that that battle is fought and that battle is won, to make sure that that enemy does not come, because you know what he's coming to do. And he ain't coming unless he can kill, steal, and destroy. So that's it. That's it for tonight. I want to say thank you all so much for coming in. I appreciate you. Again, you can text me at 609 200 1098. Let me know what you think about tonight's show. Let me know what you think about tonight's burning question. You can head on over to LarenGaines.com. Sign up for that free 15-minute consultation if that's something that you are interested in. You can also sign up for my free newsletter, Whispers of Wisdom. We have awesome content delivered to your inbox once a month. So if you like what you heard tonight, if you want to get some information, some insider information as far as new shows, new updates, financial, inspirational, motivational information, advice, head on over to LarenGaines.com. Sign up for Whispers of Wisdom. And again, check out Black Diamond Consultations. Coaching sessions, we have the free 15-minute coaching consultations available at laryngaines.com for anyone who is interested in learning more. Maybe you'd like to come in on one of these mentorship series. We have Mental Monday, we have Transformational Tuesday, we have Wind Down Wednesday, we have Coaching Sessions Thursday, and we have right here Financial Fridays. And I also forgot to mention Spiritual Sundays. If you'd like to have a seat here and chat with me, it's a possibility. Head on over to laryngaines.com. You can email me as well, info@laryngaines.com, and let me know if that is something that you're interested in. I can get you some information on that. And on that note, I want to say happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there, especially the single mothers who have been hustling and doing what they need to do to make things work. You are truly some superheroes. You are super women. So enjoy your day. And on that note, I will see y'all all on Spiritual Sunday. We're going to be discussing debt-free living from the aspect of spiritual, mental, physical, and financial well-being. On that note, I will see you when I see you. Y'all have a good night. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.